Hello there, Qckslvrslash here, and today we have a game in the Tier 9 US destroyer, the Fletcher from Lando Cowrissian. And the Fletcher is one of the better DDs out there, and arguably better than the Gearing, just because of the quicker torp reload. The downside is the range on the torpedoes is much shorter than the Gearings. And your guns are all in single turrets, so you don't have those kind of four forward-facing guns. But the Fletcher makes up for it with a little bit better maneuverability and just seems to be harder to hit. While I have the opportunity though, I am going to remind everyone there will not be a stream tonight. I am going to be away. I'll make up for it with a stream Sunday. And the other unfortunate thing, today I intended to share a Sky Cancer game of my own, but it seems that the replay doesn't want to track smoothly from that carrier view, and everything just jumps about. So maybe I'll stream a carrier game or two and I'll just be a masochist. But this is about Lando Cowrissian and what he's gonna do. And you can see off the start going for B. And a pretty common place for destroyers to go, but you do have to be careful. You're in the middle of the map. Kind of regardless of where the enemy team is going, they are going to have shots on you, and you can see there is an enemy destroyer in this cap. So when I'm approaching a cap like this, I am very cautious about how I do so, because I want to make sure I have a way to turn out. And Lando appears to be doing the same thing. He's got the rudder hard over, already popped smoke, and is turning tight against this land, landing a few shells in the process, but a bit of tragedy. The Moskva has radar. He slowed up and took a little bit extra damage there. But you can get past that. You've just got to play smart. And that's the thing. Destroyers, you're going to take a bunch of damage normally in the initial engagement, and I find it's after that first engagement, maybe everyone plays a little more cautiously, and then the game goes better. And already Lando's team off to a one-ship lead because enemy Augie detonated. And I like what Lando's doing here. He knows the Moskva has used his radar, so there's no way for this Moskva to see him. He can back up inside of his smoke and get some of these torpedoes off. They may not be as long range as the Gearians, but 10.5 kilometers is still more than enough. Unfortunately, you can see the Moskva is beginning to maneuver, and out of nowhere, there's that enemy destroyer again. Oh no, his rudder's going the wrong way. Don't ground yourself, and might get lucky. Maybe those torpedoes hit that destroyer that just poked out. Doesn't look like it yet. No, the destroyer did manage to sneak past. And Lando's got to be careful. He is in the cap, actively contesting it, but not a ton of time left on his smoke, and there's a lot of enemy cruisers. Well, one enemy cruiser very close, and a Yamato right there. So if he winds up spotted here, he could take a pretty big hit. Speaking of hits, there's one torpedo into the Yami. No flood, unfortunately. Still 8,000 damage. He'll take that any day in a destroyer. Off to a decent start. 13,000 damage in. A couple minutes in. Contested Bravo long enough to make sure the enemy team didn't get it. And that's going to matter throughout the game. You can see Lando's team just about to get their first cap, and the enemy team a little behind. This Moskva is pretty much dead already. Ate a couple big shells, and Lando is eager to finish him off. And that's one of the things these gunboat destroyers do incredibly well, and that's just finish low health targets off. You know, one or two volleys, you can get a few thousand damage, and then just disappear. Now, some might call that kill stealing. I'd like to say kill securing. There are situations where eliminating an enemy is more valuable than worrying about who gets the kill. And one of the things I really like about competitive clan play is no one cares about individual stats in a clan. All you care about is the team win. And it would be nice to see some random battles go that way a little more, because I have seen some very selfish play out there where people just sit there holding a shot to let you work a target down just so they can pick up a kill. And some of the missions definitely, I think, steer people towards those behaviors where they need to get a certain thing completed in a battle. And it's a little unfortunate, but it's always going to be a fact in games like this. Lando gets a torpedo and 2, 3, 4 torpedoes in that smoke. 5, 6. Oh, someone is hurting. 6 out of 10 torpedoes connecting, each and every one of them issuing a flood. Unfortunately, the 2 ships sitting still in that smoke both had damage control ready. And, well, the Yamato definitely is one of the ships that ate them. If I were Lando here, I would be popping my smoke and setting up to try to light fires. That said, I'd also be getting moving because the Baltimore there has him on radar. And knowing what is detecting you is very important in this game. Because a radar only lasts 30 seconds, if it's hydro, you're in trouble. And those are one of those things that I find a lot of people just mix up. Even playing with some people to be like, oh no, I'm on radar. And you're like, so? You're a battleship. You can survive being detected for a few seconds, but it turns out it's hydro and they end up sitting still and eating a bunch of damage. Now, if I were Lando, I would close in just a little more and try and get into torp range on that Yamato. Because while he's in range of that Missouri, the Yamato is too far away to potentially eat any of those. And with the Baltimore dead, now I would definitely be smoking up to start just trying to light some fires. He's in a good position to run away, and I think he knows this. He's got that edge of land just off his port bow that if he needs to, he can race up to and kite around. But it looks like the 2 battleships are deciding to turn northward and go chasing after Lando's friendly battleship. And, well, that just means a juicier target for Lando to shoot at. Getting the fire, the Bismarck puts it out. Oh, come on, get a second fire, because that will burn. Doesn't look like it. Maybe one of those last shells? Unfortunately, no fire, and that would have been pretty big. But, like I said at the start of the game, one of the things I love about the Fletcher is its torpedo reload. You don't associate the Americans as being particularly quick reloading as far as torpedoes go, but just over a minute, and you've got another 10 peeds to throw at things. And that can definitely catch some people off guard. But watching what these battleships are doing, you can see he's got the Bismarck targeted. And the Bismarck is definitely a good target to go here because he forced the damage control. If he can get a flood in here quickly, it could go for a while. Now you'll notice Lando fired a little to the back of that lead indicator. And I think that's partially a smart idea because I do suspect as the Bismarck comes around the corner, it's going to turn to the right to kind of chase after Lando's friendly battleship. And you can see that lead indicator slowly chopping in as the Bismarck turns in. And that means he's pretty much perfectly sailing in to Lando's 5 torps. And it's almost a shame that his torpedo launcher got destroyed and he only got to launch 5 there, because there's the hit. Almost 40,000 damage, has a flood, and it looks like the Bismarck is actually flooding. And that's exactly what I was talking about with that fire. The Bismarck made a mistake. If you're a battleship, you don't put the first fire out. It's pretty much a given. And because the Bismarck did, he is now flooding and could very possibly sink here if that damage control doesn't come back. Come on, one more tick. There's the kill. Picks it up with the flood and, oops, got a little locked in watching that Bismarck sink. Almost ran himself aground. And now it's a little closer. Right now, the teams are almost perfectly balanced. The enemy team has one more battleship, and Lando's team has one extra cruiser, but they are missing a cap. That cap in the middle. And that's why it mattered at the start that Lando contested that. It bought them time. Had the enemy team just been able to sail straight in and capture that, they would have an extra probably 100 or 200 points by now, putting them much closer to that, win point. And Lando's doing the smart thing. He knows the caps need to be contested. And the Bismarck there, he's sailing straight after a friendly Bismarck and into range of a Benson. And you can see that Benson is definitely detected by Hydro. Shells going his way. But there's the torpedoes, so it's safe to say he's going to be dead. Now Lando is just blind firing at the last position of that cruiser, kind of using where his shells are hitting to steer him in. The torpedo connects, gets the high caliber and a flood, and it looks like he might have a flood and a fire. Nope, not so lucky. And there's that Minotaur. Will he turn in time to dodge the second set? It almost doesn't matter. And the answer is no, he doesn't. Lando gets the kill, and it's lucky that Minotaur didn't seem to have hydroacoustic search up. So maybe they used it already or just weren't thinking. But it's one of the things I love about those British cruisers is having hydro and the smoke. You can be very effective and keep yourself safe. But the Minotaur didn't. Lando got the kill, up to 203,000 damage, 3 kills, has the high caliber and a devastating strike, going for more. The enemy Missouri popping his radar to try to figure out where these destroyers are. And despite detecting Lando, that Missouri is doing absolutely nothing to turn. And, well, Lando just sailed into the sinking heap of the Minotaur. Little unfortunate timing, but the Minotaur continues to go down and Lando slips by. And look at those enemy battleships. The Missouri eats one of Lando's friendly player torpedoes and is sitting perfectly in place for Lando Cowrissians. And it's just got to connect and he'll get the kill. There it is. 4 kills. And tacked on a couple thousand more damage. But things are still close. The enemy team still has a 100-point lead, and they're only down 1 ship. But this Amagi, well, he's not in the best place to kind of make a stand. You can see a lot of different ships, pretty much Lando's entire team, actually have a line of fire to him. And for some reason, the enemy Ognavoy is way up in the north. That is not helping his team out. Can you imagine if he had been down here to help out against Lando? That Augie could easily have killed Lando here. Instead, probably went fishing, hoping to get an easy battleship kill in the north. And it's gonna cost this enemy Amagi. He's all alone, and one more good hit, he'll be dead. There it is. So with that kill, things are pretty much even now. Lando's getting Bravo. Once they have it, they'll have the cap advantage. They can close that differential easily in the 6 remaining minutes. And, well, it's just a pair of destroyers. One is the Shimakaze that Lando faced off right at the start, and the other is that Ognavoy who hasn't seemed to be playing all that intelligently this match. And it's kind of pretty obvious where the Ognavoy is probably going. He looks to be going for Charlie. Maybe he thinks, I can sneak in, and those torpedoes give away the Shimakaze's position. In a sense. I mean, you're still guessing, and with the range on those Japanese torpedoes, the Shima could be far away from where they fired them, but it gives Lando a direction. Now, this is one of the few situations where I'd say RPF has a use. Late game, when you're trying to chase down 1 or 2 enemy destroyers, knowing where the closest one to you is, can be quite helpful, especially when it comes to dodging torpedoes. The enemy Ognivoy has done exactly what I expected, sailed straight into the cap, and well, there's the Shima. Lando gets a shot off, none connect, and the Shimakaze has popped smoke. And I like Lando's decision there. He doesn't have to chase, they've got the advantage. The Ognivoy, he hopefully should sink. Benson has seemed pretty confident most of this game. They're about equal health, and they're passing by right in close. Should be an easy enough kill for that Benson to secure. And if, well, there it is, the Bismarck secondaries actually finish it off. This game's more or less under wraps now. And more, Lando's decision to just play a little cautiously here. Fall back, not get greedy. You know, 1 kill away. If he gets that Shimakaze, he's got the Kraken. A lot of destroyer players would go, it's 4-on-2. Just dive straight on in, hoping to try to get a kill. They don't care if they die, to get that medal. And the Shimakaze is a competent gunboat. And a Fletcher with 2200 health, not exactly the most opposing enemy target for that Shimakaze to have to work down. So he turned away, fired the torpedoes, and is playing it safe. And you can see the score continues to run up. And really that is what you want to do late game like this. There's 4 of them, but we've all seen how easy it can be to kill battleships late game when they're just driving in straight lines, not really thinking through what they're doing. And I like what the friendly battleship has done. You'll notice he was sailing towards the cap, but he turned out and looks like just in time, because look at that wall of Shimakaze torpedoes. But the Iowa dodged them. He didn't sail in a perfectly straight line forever, and as a result, the Shimakaze never hit him. But once again, it kind of gives away where that Shima might be, and Lando does want the Kraken. So let's see, Shima with 6,400 hit points versus Lando with 2,200. Well, the Iowa wins. And you can see why it was prudent for Lando to turn off when he was near Bravo. When he did come down to that Shimakaze at the end, in one volley, he almost managed to kill Lando. And those are just things you have to be aware of when you're any ship sailing around on low health. You can't go charging in and throw yourself away, because 1 death quickly becomes 2, and suddenly what was a sure thing win turns into a loss, or vice versa. And this game was very well played, and the results show that. 345,000 credits, just shy of 7,000 experience, devastating strike, high caliber, 208,000 damage, the 4 kills, a whole slew of torpedoes at targets that just sat in smoke. You can't do it. Smoke is a torpedo magnet. If you're going to be in smoke, you have to have a way to know those torps are coming, whether it's hydro, friendly planes up ahead, or a destroyer screening for you. Any of those things would work and can keep you safe, and would have taken away about half of Lando's damage in this game. Anyways, I apologize for not being able to stream this evening. Hopefully the video makes up for it. Thank you, Lando, for sending this in. I enjoyed watching it, and it kind of makes me want to hop in my Fletcher. So when I stream Sunday to make up for the missing stream today, I'll definitely be sailing the Fletcher a bit. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys later.